It's just baffling that anyone is letting these people write this fanfiction, much less paying them for it. What's up everyone, and welcome back to HateWatchers. Today we trudge on ahead with our weekly breakdown and reviews of House of the Dragon, with episode 7, The Dragon in Winter. Now let's get right into the breakdown, which means spoilers ahead. We open up in King's Landing within Helena's dream, where it looks like Aemond's horse fetish might run in the family. Then she thinks she sees the gates to heaven opening before her, but it's clearly hell. Rhaenyra startles Helaena awake, asking her what she saw in her dreams. She says she saw Aemond riding a horse, but not in the way you'd expect, Corlys giving his son the finger, and an episode of the Three Stooges. Rhaenyra tries to get Helaena to pay attention, but she proves to be a petulant child. Aemond is auditioning for his part in the Mad King stage play, but he won't get a call back, especially after he tears his meniscus. Alicent teleports right into Harrenhal, tired of long, realistic travel times. Aemond is anticipating another Oedipusian kiss with Mommy Dearest, but he gets sun-zoned. But Alicent is giving mixed signals.
I'll be glad of it, bed.
Really mixed signals, and now Aemond gets to play the part of the horse. Now it's Alice's turn to teleport in, as she tags in, and the change in tightness freaks Aemond out. Outside, he finds where the Westeros teleporter dumped Alicent. Then we jump to the Rivermen on the march, and they brought Cole along to see the rest of the season. That was nice of them. In Tumbleton, Ser Gawain the Gay returns, telling Lord Douche that he saw Cole on his way here, and he's lost a lot of weight. Daemon comes in for a landing in the Vale aboard Caraxes Airlines. He barges in looking for Ray Nettles, only to find Jane Eyre playing naughty Santa. And the petty creators work a Nettles joke into their dialogue, because that's where their priorities are. Jane prattles on, but Daemon leaves mid-sentence to take a dump. It was a long flight, after all. Baela and Adam search for Vhagar in the same damn place they did 2 episodes ago. And when Adam macks on Baela and she brings up Alan, even the dragons groan, annoyed with where this love triangle plot is going. Alicent tells Aemond she escaped King's Landing, and she wants to show him her horse outside, which gets Aemond excited. So Alicent introduces him to the horse she rode all the way here, before she wonders which of them has a bigger sword. Happy to meet him, Aemond goes for a complex 4-step bro shake, but the man isn't ready for it. Apparently, Ormond likes his chicken medium rare, and Corlys is here like he's the prettiest girl at the ball, protecting herself from roofies. Ormond is trying to have a nice discussion about how since Corlys is here, he can at least do some labor for them, for free, when Daeron rudely suggests that that might be insensitive. Then Lord Douche announces he's vegan now, and Corlys refuses to associate with his kind. But Ormond says, wait, fine, I'll try some of the dark meat. Then Daeron helps Gawain mourn the loss of his friend, Criston, the Dornish hole Cole. At the small council meeting, Torrhen Manderly realizes he's being used as a scapegoat, as these 2 hens relish this girl drama bullshit. But even the queen hen is tired of the 82nd small council scene this season. Luckily though, it comes to an abrupt end, when Adam and Baela tell her they saw Sheepstealer being ridden, as Rhaenyra realizes that Daemon went contrary to her orders and tried to actually do something this season. In the corridors, Mysaria goes right back to gossiping, but it gets derailed when she makes a move on Rhaenyra. Well, what Rhaenyra hoped was a move. The Three Stooges are traveling the old-fashioned way, while everyone else is just teleporting around. Alicent doesn't like her food, and she doesn't even pretend to eat it like a good guest would. Then, when Alice starts talking, Alicent echoes the audience's thoughts.
I still don't understand who this woman is.
Aemond announces his intention to make Harrenhal his seat, and his face will be Alice's seat. Then Aemond says he wants to turn this place into Harem Hall.
You have worth yet to offer.
But Alice says it'll never work, because Aemond has ED.
We're out of wood.
Alicent tries to get back on the horse and ride him out of here, but he won't go. So she takes one last longing look at his dagger before getting distracted by some flowers. The Three Stooges run into Tom Tangletongue, who is speaking fine now, but now Larys turns into Tangletongue, spewing out this unintelligible nonsense.
You can agree to tell him that you should give yourself up.
Apparently, He wants Tyland to give himself up, promising him there are ladyboys in the King's Landing dungeons. Aegon proclaims that he will run no longer. He will make his stand here. Tyland pledges him his sword and Larys his clubfoot. JK, he bounces. Sheepstealer and Caraxes have a mid-air collision, and Sheepstealer takes out its road rage on Daemon. Daemon tries to connect with his loser daughter by lying to her and saying he used to be a loser too. But then Rhaenyra and Adam show up, hearing there's a dragon party, and Rhaenyra runs away. Good riddance, get the fuck out of here. But, unfortunately, Adam is way faster than her. Rhaenyra uses the Force to bring Rhaena to her knees, and the dragons go nuts, screaming that this isn't Star Wars. Then a whole dragon brouhaha breaks out, with the 3 other dragons bullying Sheepstealer for being friends with a loser like Rhaena. The fight continues, and Daemon is floored that this invented scene is the best use this show can find for its 10+ dragons. Mysaria is giving a fellow hooker a tour of the Iron Throne, and all the other one can say is a dick joke. Then Mysaria makes a power play, saying she'll field the common people's concerns, and I guess the guards standing right there will just pretend they didn't hear anything. Alicent comes to see Aemond, showing him the 2 glasses of wine she poured for herself. She intends to take her leave.
I will take my leave, if that would behoove you.
And Aemond says, "Did you say hooves?" Aemond finds that he doesn't know how to flirt, so he stumbles over his words and accidentally admits that he tried to kill Aegon. Rhaenyra is losing a staring contest with a skull when Daemon barges in. He apologizes for lying about killing Sheepstealer's rider, before wiping off all the makeup this chick spent hours putting on Rhaenyra, and taking his leave like a boss. Rhaena has aged 50 years in a day, just a little old grandma now, doesn't even know where she is. But Baela thinks she just has that Benjamin Button disease, and she'll soon be young again.
You will begin anew.
Alan gets a birthday gift from his dad, his own middle finger. How thoughtful. Alice feeds herself before Aemond stumbles in, as it looks like Alicent realized if she wanted to get one of her children killed, she'd have to do it herself. But her success is soon forgotten, as she gets lost looking for the bathroom, but she thinks she found it based on the smell. Helaena finally gives birth, and her child is immediately handed over to the real father, Criston Cole. I called it. Then she dreams of riding her dragon, Dreamfire, the sickest looking dragon that the show's creators took from us. Then she dreams that she's in the music video for Lady Bonnie of Tyler's song, Total Eclipse of the Fart. Having gaseous issues of her own, Rhaenyra is touched by the music video, and she gets up and tries to stoke the fire with a skull, because she sucks at everything. She visits Mysaria, and Rhaenyra thinks that Mysaria is pregnant after they made out once, speaking to the baby, because she doesn't know how any of this stuff works either. Then Mysaria mounts Rhaenyra, going for a horizontal makeout scene this season, because that's what this show is missing. Aegon and Tyland are camping when Ser Squashface and some other boys playing army men on the side of Rhaenyra approach them, telling them to throw down their arms. But Aegon thinks he can't. His arms are still attached to his body, and if they weren't attached to his body, how would he be able to throw them? Then Aegon refuses to surrender, and everyone has a sensible chuckle about it, but then zombie Sunfire rises up behind him, roasting the men, much to Gwain's chagrin, and a horse, much to Aemond's chagrin. And maniacal Aegon thinks he's the one breathing fire, and he and his dragon share a good laugh. Outside Tumbleton, Ulf the White Trash and Lord Douche are drinking, and Ulf is so happy he could kiss Ormond, and Ormond flirts back, and the two have a gay old time scheming against Rhaenyra as the episode comes to an end. And with that, we've reached that point in the video where we have to decide if this episode was a great watch or a hate watch. And do I even need to say it? Not only is this a hate watch, not only is it the 5th hate watch in a row, this might be the worst episode of this show, ever. It's definitely the worst episode of the season. The stupidity is just off the charts. These videos require their own segments on all the stupidity they've written into the show at this point. For Exhibit A, let's start with Rhaenyra's Queensguard. He is there with one job, to kill Aemond. So why wasn't he the one ready with a sneak attack? Just gut him right outside. You don't have to keep up your pretenses for longer than 12 seconds. You don't even have to step into the Harrenhal Labyrinth. You could get back on the road before it's dark, but instead he gets murdered instantly. First of all, that was your plan, Rhaenyra? Were you dropped off a dragon onto your head when you were a kid? Secondly, where is she getting schmucks this useless? Is she scraping the bottom of the flea bottom barrel when filling positions for her most capable, most trusted arms? It's beyond stupid. With Exhibit B sticking with Rhaenyra, she continues her reign of stupidity. After Jace's death and getting revenge on Sheepstealer's rider driving her priorities for much of the season, she discovers Daemon had lied to her. And all it took was one half-assed explanation and apology from him to make her think that what he did wasn't that bad. Then she turns on a dime and blames Mysaria for giving her bad advice, after listening to Mysaria and only Mysaria all season. Then it takes one lickaroo from Mysaria for Rhaenyra to let that go. One $5 luxury taco box munch from the White Worm is all it takes to sway this queen. She's so dumb. And so weak, and so suggestible, and so useless. But hey, at least the writers remembered that she and Mysaria had a thing last season, because that's important to work into the story. Also, Exhibit C, at the start of the episode, Rhaenyra is interrogating Helaena about her dragon dreams. And Rhaenyra, familiar with the idea of dragon dreams and how they work, thinks that she can glean specific military information from these vague, metaphorical visions. And then, Exhibit D. Mysaria is talking with that one madam at full volume in the echoiest chamber in the Seven Kingdoms, and Rhaenyra's sworn guards 30 feet away just don't hear any of it. I mean, this scene in general is just horrible. What do we care what this madam's opinion of Mysaria is? Honestly, who even cares about Mysaria? It's funny because this is a parallel scene to one in Game of Thrones, where two characters, having risen far above their station, speak about power dynamics in front of the throne they've climbed so far to be near. But Game of Thrones had this scene with Varys and Littlefinger, and the best this show can do is two hookers, giving us the Temu version of it. It says a lot about this show. And how about Sunfire for Exhibit E? I've been saying all season that no matter what they did with Sunfire, it was going to be stupid. And we finally got confirmation that Sunfire is alive. Meaning every single character that reported Sunfire was dead is a moron. Moronic, not only because they couldn't tell it was still alive, but also moronic for not cutting the thing's head off or torching it to be sure. So Kristen Cole, Baela, Daemon, Larys, everyone that said this thing was dead is stupid, and apparently has been stupid all along. And now we have not one, but two love triangles in this show for Exhibit F, as Adam, Alan, and Baela are joined by Alicent, Aemond, and Alice. Aemond with his mother and his mother figure, and Baela and her uncles. That's the story these people think is worth screen time. Dear Lord, get these creators away from this show. This is such dog shit. Exhibit G and H. Even the dragon fight we got was stupid. Sure, it looked good, and it brought some action into the mix. But this scene was entirely invented for the show, and all it serves to do is rob Rhaena, a character that never deserved a subplot of her own, of her dragon. And the dragon didn't even die. So we get dragons, ultimately achieving nothing, in service of a subplot that the show would be better served if it had just dropped it and forgotten about it entirely. It was just a spectacle with no tangible impact on the story. Not to mention that this show didn't do Sheepstealer justice. Sheepstealer should be larger than Seasmoke and Syrax combined, and it would absolutely body Syrax. Exhibit I, and I swear that wasn't a pun I intended as I labeled these after I wrote this segment, but this show couldn't even decide if Aegon's eye is burnt shut or not. Here, it's fully closed for the entire scene, only to be fully opened in Aegon's next scene. And now Exhibit J. That next scene was with Larys, who is either an enigma or the writers have no idea what they're doing with him. First, he spirits Aegon out of King's Landing. Then he makes Aegon turn himself in, and now he's abandoning him. Larys was held up as one of the more cunning and conniving characters in this show. But now he just looks like a man with no plans, no schemes, no levers to pull, and no goals. What is he even trying to do at this point? Him insulting Aegon to help him come around was his only point in the show? Their stupidity knows no bounds. Just go watch the Inside the Episode segment and look at the director and co-writer for this episode and listen to them talk. And the problem with this show will become abundantly clear. And what happened to Hugh? He's just having a staycation in Tumbleton? The character sprawl is too much, as these writers can't make a decision on which characters should get full stories and which ones should be largely relegated to the background. So, everyone gets a full storyline. Until, that is, we decide to just leave them frozen in time until we want them again. Even now, in the penultimate episode, this show continues to drag on. See what I did there? While characters might be teleporting all over the place, this season has been as slow as the actual march the Rivermen made to Tumbleton. Or the Mooten men from Maidenpool, only now reaching Rook's Rest months later. Can someone get these people a fucking map? Aegon completing his pseudo-resurrection arc and finding his strength again was the only thing I liked in this episode. And even that is sullied with the power of stupidity fueling Sunfire's rise from the grave. Everything else was just awful in so many ways. Now let's talk about the book version of events, for all the good it will do us. I'm not even going back and reading the book this week, there's no point. But let's talk about what we can. Per usual, I won't be going beyond this episode's events in the book, so you won't get spoiled for anything yet to come. And the book is pretty much an entirely different story at this point. But still, here's a spoiler warning for Fire and Blood. Let's start with these dumb romances. No, Mysaria and Rhaenyra didn't have any sort of romance in the book. In fact, it's Daemon who's plowing Mysaria in the book. And Rhaenyra, at this point in the story, isn't even a character that seeks out romance of any kind. She's entirely broken by the death of her sons, too despondent for anything like this. But in the show, I guess Mysaria is such a cunning linguist that Rhaenyra doesn't give a fuck about Jace or Lucerys anymore. Aemond never had an Oedipus complex, which is just as well because Alicent never left King's Landing after Rhaenyra took over. And Baela never found herself in a love triangle with her uncles. Rhaenyra says her father was not a dragon dreamer, which would be true if she was talking about book Viserys. But this show explicitly made him a dragon dreamer. So do with that information what you will, because the creators have no fucking idea what they're doing. Tyland is never out and free. We discussed 2 episodes ago how he's currently in the King's Landing dungeons, getting tortured and mutilated. Corlys was never kidnapped and held in Tumbleton. Daemon is spending time with Nettles in the book, a character this show replaced and made worse with Rhaena. Aemond, while in some kind of romance with Alice Rivers, is not in recovery. He's out burning the countryside trying to draw Rhaenyra's dragons out to face him and Vhagar. In actual, canon use for dragons that the show couldn't be bothered with. Not when creating dumbass romances is at the forefront of these writers' minds. Helaena loved writing Dreamfire in the book. And the creators took that from us because they'd rather have Helaena represent someone on some kind of spectrum. Maybe she's a self-insert for one of them. It wouldn't shock me. But Dreamfire looked awesome, like a deranged Darth Maul with those horns. There was no dragon rumble. They created that pointless scene for the show. We'll talk about Ulf and Ormond and all that after it plays out next episode. And Torrhen Manderly is replaced by Lord Celtigar in the book, and he did get to implement his taxes. And they're a large reason why the people of King's Landing get fed up with Rhaenyra. So, in an instance in the book where a man's decision led to Rhaenyra getting blamed, which is a large part of the story these people are trying to tell, they turned that on its head. In the show, Manderly doesn't implement the taxes, and he gets blamed for Rhaenyra's decisions. So the writers are even failing to tell the story they wanted to tell. It's just baffling that anyone is letting these people write this fanfiction, much less paying them for it. And everything that I said was different from the book in previous videos still holds true. Anyway, that's enough for now. I think you get the point, and there's no point in beating this dead dragon anymore. Also, HBO will probably demonetize this video too, because they can't handle any criticism. So make sure to like the video and subscribe to HateWatchers to tell them where to shove it. But I want to hear from you. What did you think about this episode? Are you on Team Aegon now? Are you guzzling down all this tea the creators want to spill this season when they should be spilling blood? How uncontrollably will you laugh when they find a way to shove the Battle of Tumbleton off until next season? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for getting Sun Zoned with me today, and I'll catch you on the next one.